Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. I just wanted to, as usual, get in touch, say hello, do a quick video update of what's been going on around the place lately. I'll make it fairly brief as I can. I'll start off too by saying that as viewers will know that what I'm about to say is just general information, observations, commentary on last night's federal government budget a little bit, but also just on markets and volatility and what's been going on the last couple of months. So anything that applies to you individually, we should talk about individually. This is broad comments and shouldn't be applied more deeply than it's intended to. So with all of that, last night's budget, if you got to see it, was pretty uneventful really in a lot of ways. It was once again focused on cost of living measures and some things there. From a financial planning point of view, very, very little relevant or material for us to act on at the moment. It's as usual, it all goes into the mix and goes into the things we think about when we're discussing strategies and actions and other things with you guys. But so again, I'll make that a really brief summary, and extra info can be drilled down as you wish to later on. But some of the cost of living measures, we're furthering that energy bill relief. A lot of these things get public airing well before the budget. This is that $150 relief payment to people. There's measures to strengthen Medicare, like some more funding of bulk billing and other things. More funding to the PBS for medications. An interesting one too, because a lot of us have got university age children or grandchildren, and the government's moving to reduce those help debts, or HECS debts as we used to know them, on 1st of June, just cutting them off 20%, which I think is a really fair measure. And then they're increasing those limits after which youngsters have to start paying it back, their earning limit, once that reaches a certain level. So that's all good and interesting, but again, it's not changing strategies much that we're all talking about here. No superannuation strategies per se, no new ones at least. They're putting more money into ensuring that businesses pay tax and superannuation for people on time, so they're going to police that, which is just a good thing socially. They introduced some new tax cuts too for all taxpayers from 1st of July 2026. So again, that's good and interesting, but it's a fairly long lead time as usual, so there's time to see how that affects individuals. An interesting thing too to tuck away for the future as we're thinking about things with you is that what these cuts mean is that from 2027 and 2028 financial year, which seems a long way away, but the marginal tax rate for income tax in that first taxable bracket, 18,000 to 45,000 it'll be then, will be lower than the 15% tax rate of superannuation. So that'll have us rethinking, in some cases, ideas such as concessional contributions, where people make deliberate additional contributions to super to get a tax deduction. Of course, it'll have to be given one of those, bit of a sanity check to make sure it is beneficial overall. But again, in the scheme of things, that's really just a thought bubble for the future. Nothing much else too exciting, honestly. There's no announcements at all relating to social security. Aged care is more about the more funding for the government to deliver the reforms that have come about or suggested in the wake of that Royal Commission into aged care quality. So that's all good. Aged care itself is such a specific and changing area of advice, of course, that you would absolutely seek special advice on that if and when it's looming. Otherwise, look, the only other thing of interest again for some people is that that Help to Buy program, where the government provides equity into a purchase of a home for usually a younger person of up to 40%. That's got all sorts of pros and cons about it anyway, but they're increasing funding for it. That was the other budget announcement that was of any sort of relevance, I guess, last night. So with that, nothing staggering. Some years we're flat strap afterwards, other years there's not much new to do, so we'll just carry on with our usual work. And around that quickly, I've just hit 5 minutes, so I'll try and wrap it up fairly quickly. But a lot of volatility in the last 2 months, 7 weeks or so, through most of February and March. But even now you're seeing a bit of a V-shape. We're seeing we're sort of appear to be coming out of it. How long that lasts is anyone's guess, and that's the usual conundrum we deal with. But I guess our quick summary on it, our house view here would be that despite the initial market favouring the US administration, and that's what drives most of this, the US administration coming back into government, volatility was always predicted, and that's what we're seeing now is heightened volatility. So, and that's, I mean, the way they do business is sort of that style. It's disruptive, it's unpredictable, and so regardless, it's going to create extra uncertainty and volatility. So that isn't particularly a surprise. The sharp drop-offs in February and March followed a fairly sharp rise in the major markets from sort of Christmas onwards, November, December onwards. So again, even in general terms, usually when a market's run hot, investors often, or traders maybe, often look for the first sign of a wobble to justify them taking some profit off the table. So we're not overly worried about it, while these really negative aspects for financial markets, trade wars and tariffs and all that kind of thing, are obviously coming to the fore. The thing is, there are competing policies coming out of the US that are supportive of financial markets, like cutting red tape and tax cuts and things like that. So I think that's why we're seeing this W-shaped, a fair bit of up and down, because you'll find support on one hand and sort of fear on the other. So look, we're not taking any different a stance to it than we would at any other time. Generally speaking, we can finesse around the edges about certain types of things, hedging or not hedging, if currency's going to be an issue with dollar movements and things like that. But our overall view remains unchanged, and people who watch my little videos more regularly will see that so often we revert to that place of making sure we have our reviews so that we can see about your circumstances, so that we can see that you're looking ahead to what's coming up and setting your portfolios for that, which is much more important than trying to be really precise about when markets will go up or down, which we know is impossible. So onward and upward, I would say. Be prepared for more volatility, but volatility is opportunity too for good investors. So again, let's just keep in touch on a one-to-one level, and look forward to sort of things stabilising around the world, because that makes everybody feel a bit better anyway. But look, other than that, all's good here. Hope you're well. On hand for calls and meetings and whatever else you need. And take care and look after yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.